I am Doe, and I am the artist of the night. Whatever kind of expression, the biggest thing is that you do express, and that you don't feel that you can't express. That's the bridge we need to build. So many times that happens, that we limit our expression because we're so afraid of how it will be interpreted. As long as you're not coming, let me preface this, as long as you're not coming from a place of wanting to hurt or cause anybody discomfort, if it's a place of love, let it go.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Artists of the Night. Today we will be speaking with Deb Callan, also known as Doe. Doe does incredible artwork that is one of a kind. It's maybe something that I've never seen anywhere else. And so we're here to talk about her work, her art, how she developed this very unique and interesting and beautiful style of artwork, and really anything else that comes to mind today. So Deb, how are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Good.
So first question for you today. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you got into art in general. How did art enter your life, and what made you decide to pursue it?
Well, unlike a lot of people, I had to leap into the art field because my mother is also an artist. We started a business in interior design. Interscape and Associates was the company name. My passion has been music, dance, and art. And ever since I was a little girl, I wove with my fingers, whether it was grass or anything else. And that is how I got into art. One, with a mother who is an artist, and two, having it all around me, because the emphasis of our design business was, of course, design is art. And we worked with Native American predominantly art. We originated Otero Savings and Loan, its theme around Southwestern art. So it was an indoctrination for me from a little one all the way up through the arts. So it makes sense in that respect.
So you've been surrounded by art your entire life.
Correct.
Excellent.
Philosophy, art, any kind of concept pretty much that you would have around art in its conception, mental conception, is been a part of my life. Life is art.
Debbie, you mentioned weaving, and that maybe tell us a little more about weaving, because that is obviously something that is kind of what your chosen medium, your medium of choice is at this point in time.
A medium that I can do with my hands. I love my hands. The hands are such a wonderful, wonderful thing. I started, as I said, as a young girl weaving grass, baskets or just loosely woven things with grasses. And then I ended up purchasing a 8 harness floor loom, and I got into weaving textiles, rugs, wall hangings, did that for a number of years. The problem therein lied, I couldn't get the detail that I wanted. So approximately 22 years ago, actually I have woven glass before, but not to this degree. I got into doing pictorials over gourds, and it is a very finite, detail oriented art form, but it also is a meditative place for me to go and a prayer place for me to go. And it's very grounding, and I love it very much.
So what inspired you to start weaving onto gourds?
One, I think it is I love the earth. And when I look at a gourd, it has the roundness and the earthiness and the smell everything is representational to me of my mother, the earth. And to be able to weave on a gourd, it's like you're going round and round and round the earth, and it speaks, and it sings, and it is grounding. And I think it's just a natural, for me, it was just a natural place to go, because my work, to me, is a walk with the earth, with her screaming at us, with her loving us, with her doing all that she does for us. It is that journey that I take with the gourds in the glass.
And so that kind of speaks a little bit to what you said earlier about meditation and a prayer kind of
Yeah.
a situation. And is that also kind of tied in because of the length of time that it takes to complete one of these works of art is significant?
It is. Most of the time, I have an idea of the length of time a piece is going to take me before I take it in. But once I start the journey, the time has no relevance. Once I complete a piece, the time has no relevance. It is the thought of, oh my God, I'm dealing with tiny little beads that I am going to weave on this sometimes massive piece. Oh, what a journey this is going to be. But once I walk into that, it has no relevance. And then when it's done, the journey is done. And then I stopped for a period of time until something else presents itself.
So what would you say is an average length of time that it takes to do one?
Again, it depends upon the size of the piece. The average time in real time, if you were to figure 8 hours a day, 6 months to 3.5 years.
That's impressive. I don't know if there's a whole lot of other art mediums out there that can, I mean, I guess depends on what you're doing, but I would say a painting doesn't generally take 3.5 years.
Right. And again, it's hypnotic almost. It is it's a love, it's a passion, it's a journey, it's a prayer, it's all of those things. And it's just like anything else you do, when you're in the midst of it, when you're just in the midst of it, time has no relevance. And the journey is what's important. And once you're done, and you're on to whatever else is there. But it is, to me, it's not about the time, it's about the journey. I have a magnifier that I use, but I pick up a bead, and you'll see I will go through this bead right here, hopefully not break it. These opaque beads are brittle, and there you have an orange bead that doesn't belong there.
Oh,
You see?
yeah.
So now you see every little space there. You see how the beads are dropped down?
Mhm.
Another bead gets put in between. And that's how it's done. In weaving, sometimes they talk about how many weft threads are per an inch,
Mhm.
right? my beads, I typically love to work in 15. So what you're thinking of there is 15 beads in an inch. So when I weave, when you look at the pictorials, it is in and out, in and out, in and out, one bead at a time. What's beautiful about it, it is a dance, because when you look at the gourds, you'll see that they are small in portions and that they get larger. And you have to dance with the gourd. You have to add more beads, you know, as you're getting larger, and you have to drop them as you're getting smaller, and continue the pattern in which, you know, that is being dictated by the gourd predominantly is what leads me.
So you have to adapt based on the contours of the gourds.
Correct. But they are very, very small. And I think that, to your point, if most people were to start on a journey like what I do, and a lot of your old artisans, when you look at, for instance, your Middle Eastern art, you know, some of the art that you will see is generational. It is passed on because something could not be completed in a lifetime. I think part of our problem today is we're so wrapped up in our tomorrows, and you and I have discussed this, that we can't see past the moment. And if you get to that point, you miss it. And, you know, for me, it's a matter of just continuing on the journey for the sake of the journey. And I think a lot of us are forgetting how to do that, meaning people would look at a gourd like my large one that is over 2 feet tall and say, oh my God, there's no way I could step off the platform into this pool, you know, to take this journey, because that's so much of my life that the moment is taken away. And that's the beauty of it, though. It's the journey.
And you're willing to devote your moments to that.
Well, absolutely. If not to that, then what? You know, it's if not to that, then what? So
that speaks to you.
Yes.
So maybe another quick question about weaving. You mentioned that you started with grass baskets and your gourd. Was there any weaving in between grass baskets and gourds?
Oh, absolutely. As I said, I have an 8 harness floor loom downstairs that I used to do when we had the design business. I would actually do wall hangings to sell as well. I wove a lot, but as I said before, I always loved Barbara Teller Ornelas is a Navajo weaver, and she does tapestry weavings. And when we had the design business, I was just enthralled with her weavings, because tapestry, you know, there are over 80 weft threads per inch. And some of her pieces would take her years to complete. And it was a matter of really looking at this exceptionalism of the time of the journey, the completion of what she had done, and the woman herself. But because she always was so grounded in her work. Her work spoke to the passion of taking a journey not tied to money or to something out there, but here, you know, inward. And she spoke to me. And I think that's part of what thrust me into the gourds, part and parcel, was the desire to not take a short trip. And the weaving that I used to do on the loom was wonderful. And sometimes they took me, because I love to do tapestries too. They would take me a long period of time, but I couldn't get the detail. I just couldn't get the detail. And I couldn't really find that oomph of the journey that I wanted to find. I wanted that fulfillment of that, and I find it in the gourds.
And also your glass weaving has kind of taken other forms. So you showed us a kaleidoscope. Well, not technically, we use it as a kaleidoscope, but a hanging that can be used as a kaleidoscope and some in jewelry as well.
Yes. Well, I love translucency. And with the gourds, when you put the glass on the gourd itself, you can't get the translucency of the glass. And in being able to do the jewelry or to do the kaleidoscope that you're talking about, I love stained glass. I love the intricacy of it. I love the color. I like the way the light plays on glass. Well, there was a cardboard tube laying on the counter, and I thought about weaving over it and having my own little stained glass and just playing. And again, this process is one bead at a time, woven. And I wove it over the cardboard tube and then pulled out the tube, and that's what you have. It is like a kaleidoscope when you turn it.
Doe, you have kind of given us a little bit of an indication of that all of your pieces are connected. There is just kind of a universe. There's a constellation, and all of your pieces are stars in that constellation. Can you give us a little information about the collective?
Douglas, who I've mentioned, wanted a coat beaded, and on the coat didn't want much. He wanted the whole front range, and he wanted a medicine wheel on it. And we were in Taos, New Mexico, and we saw a large gourd sitting for sale on the side of the road. And I said to him, "There's your coat." And I brought the gourd home, and it has the whole front range as I see it, and a medicine on one side and the medicine wheel on the other. But in the collective, through the Rocky Mountains, which we don't see here, but I have a stream of water that pools all the way down into the sea to connect everything. It is the collective. And so in the bottom of the gourd, you have the sea, and the front of the gourd, as I said, is the front range, the garden of the gods, and all sorts of critters that are within this plane. And then you turn it over and you have a medicine wheel, and there again is the prayer for the collective. And you have depicted in that medicine wheel, you have a bear, a mouse, an eagle, and a white buffalo. And the white buffalo is wisdom, and the mouse in the south is innocence, and the bear is red, and he's strength, and then you have the eagle for enlightenment, and it all comes together for the prayer for the collective. And that piece is over 24 inches tall, and it's I don't know how big around it is. I think I knew at one point, but it's huge.
Big. Yeah, it's huge.
And it took me 4.5 years to weave it, but in real time, you're probably looking at 3.5. So it was a journey, and it is. Now, I will say, in retrospect, you talk about a journey. I look at that piece And I can't remember taking the journey. I don't feel that I look at it and it's like, whoa, like I was saying before, had I known what that journey was going to be, would I have taken it? But I didn't question the journey.
Mhm.
I didn't question it, but I look at it in retrospect and I think, wow, that's a lot. It is a lot. It is, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud that I took it and that it's here. Because it symbolizes all the things that I want for the earth and for everything that lives on Earth.
Well, and you should be proud of it because for one, it's stunning, it's beautiful, and it's impressive. Like that is a very impressive piece of work. So
Thank you. Okay. Do you know what I see when I look at this, when I look at it?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine starting at the very top bead and realizing what you are doing, where you're going, how big it really is.
Would you do something like this again?
Hell if I know. I don't know.
Deb, if someone is watching this show, happens to catch this, and maybe they're a young artist, someone that's just starting out, maybe just kind of starting their journey, or somebody that has been an artist in the past and then, for whatever reason has let it drop and they're trying to get back into it. Do you have any sort of advice or anything that you would like to say to someone that wants to express their creativity, but maybe doesn't have a whole lot of experience with it?
First and foremost, I would say, take care of you. Nobody else is going to do that for you. You have to do it for yourself. Shakespeare said it, to thine own self be true. All you have is this moment in time. Don't go to a point where you're ready to cross a line into whatever the next plane of this journey is and say, oh my God, I wish I had. I wish I had. Why didn't I? Why didn't I just take the time and do it? Because when you're alone in that space to make that other journey, that's all you have is the love of the life you've spent, the journey that you have. So if you want to live art, which we all do, we all live art, whatever you want to call it, whatever journey you want to take, all you have is this moment. Do it. Do
Perfect.
it for yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. You have to do it. Then you can get to the point where you're at the end of this journey and say, oh God, I'm glad I did that. I did it for me. It's okay to do something for you. If you don't, if we are all just giving outward, okay, then you get to a point where you're not taking care of yourself. For you to take care of all this stuff outside, you got to take care of you. And what I would wish for everybody is this life's journey that we're all on, once we lay down to take another, that we can say, I gave it my best. I did my best. I'm happy with the steps that I have taken. Another thing is always through life, don't burn your bridges. Don't burn your bridges. Hold them close. You never know when you will meet them. Ceremonial pieces. This pipe I have broken out with people close to me and smoked. The rattle, of course, is when I really need extra help from the collective or the fan. It's actually a pod from a tree. When I lived in Cairo, I was in Cairo for a year, and it makes a wonderful rattle. and of course the pipe. And then I got to go to Aruba with a friend, and they were all about gambling, and I'm not a gambler. I got to walk and meet people, and I had this young man come and gift me macaw feathers. I sat and spoke with him for hours, and he gave me the macaw feathers, and I made a fan.
Awesome.
And but those are mine. Those are mine.
So, Deb, do you have anything else that you would like to share with us to kind of conclude this interview?
I want to express my gratitude for the experience to be able to talk to you, and it's a knowing that the belief, if we can just get there, we can achieve anything we aspire to be, if we just let go of all the other things. And it sounds silly, but love is the answer. It always has been. We got to learn to let go of all of the hate and the wanting to be better, and just try to get to a point where we can see through a lens of love and wanting to understand, wanting to grasp who is in front of us at that particular moment, not just seeing through them. Whether it be a human being or a critter, on the ground, or a tree or anything, just wake up and understand that we're all in it together. We're all connected. It is the collective. You can't take one part of it away and not have it affect the other, that we are all interconnected. And that's what my work is. It's all interconnected. And that's what this journey has shown me is, I need you. I need you. And I hope you can get to a point where you understand you need me too. That's what I hope.
And I don't think that sounds silly at all, because I agree with you that love is the answer, and the importance in probably the most important thing in the world.
I can't think of anything more important to me. And we all have our understanding of what the meaning of that is. But through my work, I have found that it is the purest of intent. And that's all I can say.
That's a wonderful definition.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, thank you, everybody that has been watching this. Definitely appreciate Debbie Callan. Thank you so much for spending your time today and talking to me, and exploring your work a little bit and your ideas. I think it's, again, I think personally, I've been fortunate enough to have been exposed to a lot of your work, and I think it's all just magnificent, beautiful. And I think it's also just the level of detail and the amount of care and craft and technique that goes into it is amazing. And just the entire presentation is just something very unique and something very special. And so thank you for sharing it with us today.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And so with that, I'd like to thank everybody that's been watching this, and I hope you all have a wonderful day as well.
Bye.
Okay.
And then I reverse it. And then I should give them to you and you try. And then I do them with this hand.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this I do when I'm doing my leg swings. And then I reverse them.
Wow, just that? So that helps a lot.
Your dexterity has to be here.
Whew. Okay.